Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here with Crypto Common Sense, and I did want to sit down and shoot a video today, and then of course I wake up and I'm sick. So I'm still going to do the video, but my voice may be a little bit rough, and the video may be a little shorter, I don't know. It's ironic. I'll talk about a lot of things in this video that hopefully you guys can learn from. I was thinking a couple days ago about how a year ago at this time, I was literally dying from COVID, or at least I thought I was, and I think the hospital thought I was as well. But, I was down with that for about 46 days, and it took me about 6 months to really get back to mostly normal. I don't know if I'm normal still. I still feel like sometimes I have COVID brain. But, I was looking back over the last year, and I've been thinking a lot about just kind of where I'm at. Financially speaking, career-wise and things like that. And was thinking about how fast some of these things happened. Because I know sometimes when people come to this channel, especially if they're new to the channel, they didn't kind of come with me along the journey. It's like, he's at this point and, you don't know how I got to this point and how long it took and things like that. And the reality is it happened really fast. I started trading in May of 2017. And I say I started trading in May of 2017, but I really wasn't. I was trading. I was trading with a lot more money than I should have been in reality in 2017, but I was guessing. I was really gambling more than trading. I was just kind of throwing money at the market. A lot of that year I wasn't using stop losses, which of course worked fine because it was a parabolic bull market. So, I made the ridiculous statement to my wife one time about, I love this trading stuff because, when I buy stuff, it goes up. And if it doesn't go up, I just wait and eventually it goes back up, all this goofy stuff. And of course, then 2018 happened and I had to learn how to trade for real because you can't trade a bear market with just throwing money at the wall and hoping something sticks. It just won't work, which a lot of people found out over the last 12 months. So I just want to, really drive this point home for those of you that maybe aren't where you want to be with this stuff yet. If you'll just get serious about it and really dedicate yourself to learning technical analysis and learning how to trade, I believe most people could probably go from, A to Z, and Z being a point where you're making consistent returns. I think you could do it in 12 months. I really do. It took me a couple of years because I gambled for the first, year that I was doing it, and I lost a lot of money. And so really the first year was almost a waste in many, ways because I wasn't really learning. I was just gambling. But at this point, 2023 will be my 6th year anniversary of trading, which is so crazy to me because it just doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has. And it's funny because the longer I do it, I'll post a chart up and then a year will go by and I'll see that chart again and I'm like, oh, I just posted that, not too long ago. I'm like, oh, wow, that was a year ago or 2 years ago, etc. It's like I had some options expiring this month. And I thought, no, those can't be expiring this month. They were options I bought 2 years ago. So with all that being said, what I was doing today is I was kind of flipping through some of my old charts. I don't feel good today, so I'm not trading or anything. I didn't even really look at anything to trade. But I was flipping just down my list here of charts, and I went back and I happened to click on my lumber chart. And a lot of you, if you've been with me a while, you'll remember this. I posted this up literally, almost a year ago now. Well, it was a year ago, January 2022, right? Lumber was coming into this 61.8 to 78.6 zone that I nicknamed the hodler soul crushing zone. It really came from cryptocurrency because currency investors, they fall in love with stuff and want to hodl. And so I started trying to point out to people that, that zone was often reversal zones where price would move away from it. And it doesn't always go, straight down like this. A lot of times it's just a pause. So you'll get something like this. It'll hit it, come back down a little bit, and then, it might continue an uptrend. But this was lumber, and I remember posting this chart, and one of my own family members was kind of critical of it, oh, you can't, it's not that simple. There's so much more that goes into it. And I'm like, no, It's that simple. And, here we are a year later, and you look back at this chart, and how many millions of dollars do you think people made shorting the lumber market back here? I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who probably made, tens of millions of dollars betting against this thing. I'm not saying like average Joes, people who are playing with large budgets. There were definitely some major players getting very, very rich betting against lumber. It's just a really simple chart. And I had a memory pop up on my Facebook today where 2 years ago I was showing a fractal of the NASDAQ versus Bitcoin and showing how Bitcoin was basically following the NASDAQ, peg for peg. In fact, just to make this easy to talk about, I'll kind of pull this up. So this was January 11th, 2021. So 2 years ago, I made this post. Doesn't seem like it, but what I was pointing out on this fractal was how Bitcoin was just mirroring everything that the NASDAQ had done, right? If you look at these circles, like the high, the 83% drop, dead cat bounce, retest of its 200 moving average, retest of its 200 moving average, a spike. This was the January 2021 Bitcoin spike to 40K. The dump, right? Like the 30% pullback in the NASDAQ. And then we were at that point just starting to pull back in early 2021. And so I was kind of showing a circle down here like, hey, we might go down here. But the idea behind the post was that if Bitcoin continued to mimic the NASDAQ, that it still had one more leg up, one more bear squeeze before it, fell apart. And that's what happened with Bitcoin. Right after it fell down here to around 30K, it did. It went up to, what did it go up to, 69,000? So it's really crazy, like how if you can get away from the media, right? Because the media is really, really bad about dramatizing what's going on in markets. They always have these dramatic takes about, the good times are over. That's kind of the take they're on right now. Jim Cramer, I think it was last week, was telling people to, get out of crypto, sell all their crypto, yada, yada, yada. That kind of like, overly bearish viewpoint. And then when times are good, Jim Cramer, and I'm not trying to pick on Jim Cramer, but I mean, he's just an easy target because he's so wrong so often. Here crypto has been moving down for several months. It's down 75%. And, it's really not had any major dead cat bounces along the way, except for this little bounce back here, which was close to a year ago. So I still believe that crypto has a dead cat bounce in it. I've been somewhat surprised that we haven't had it yet. I mean, it's really grinding here versus, moving like a market usually would move. And I think a lot of the reason it hasn't had that bounce has to do with how bad stocks are doing. But anyway, he's telling people down here to get out of crypto. But over here, he was kind of bullish on crypto, if I remember right. And in fact, he was telling people to buy Coinbase stock. And I think the stock was like 300 at the time or 350. And he was given a target of some silly number. I don't remember the number. Well, look here, right? Here's the Coinbase stock. It fell, his target was up around $400 or so, where he's bullish on it in 2021, and Coinbase stock fell all the way down to $31.55 a share. It ended up being a 91% drop. I mean, fortunes were wiped out over this stock. And if we look at it, what's so ironic is look what it is. Again, very, very basic cliche market behavior. Here's your Fibonacci levels. Here's your pump right into that same 61.8, 78.6 hodler soul crushing zone, just like the lumber chart. And then boom, capitulation follows, right? How many millions were made on this stock? This one even lower than what I thought it would go. I really thought that when it launched, I told people I'm a buyer at $50, and I did buy it at $50 back in this candle back here. But I sold it because it still looked really weak. I think I sold it around $60, and it pumped up to like 116. So it wasn't like the best sell in the world. It was really just one of those, I don't want any part of this. It wasn't even really a trade. I was going to invest in it. And then it just did not look good. And so I just went ahead and stepped out of it. And I was happy to make a profit, but it wasn't the goal. The goal was to invest, and it really just changed my mind. So we'll see. Eventually I might put money back into that. But you look at all these things and these charts, there's just nothing in them that's like unexplainable, One thing I would say about Bitcoin, I know this video is not like super specific about one topic, but one thing I'd say about Bitcoin is I think it's really dangerous to be overly bearish on Bitcoin right now. I've really almost completely eliminated social media. I started my Twitter break on December 3rd. I would say from December 3rd until today, January 11th, I've probably spent less than 30 minutes on Twitter total. Facebook, I've almost completely eliminated Facebook. My last personal post on Facebook was December 31st, just wishing everybody a happy new year. And I've popped into my Facebook group a few times to drop a couple of posts, but then I get right back off. But even in the times that I've been on there, like I've seen a lot of bearishness. People calling for, $10,000 Bitcoin and things like that. And I mean, everybody knows that I'm that guy that was saying $8,000 to $12,000 Bitcoin back before it was popular, and I still believe that eventually it will get there. But there's things about this chart that just don't say $10,000 to me right now, in the short term. And one of them is this. I mean, really look at what's happening with Bitcoin right now. This has been ranging now for a long time. If you go back to this capitulation event where it dropped from 21.5 down to 15.5, and it's not total market capitulation, but this was a big puke down in the market. That was in November. So we've been ranging now for 63 days, 2 months. And in terms of cryptocurrency, a lot of bottoms look like that. I'm not saying this is the market bottom. I'm not saying that a new bull market is going to start from here. The volume doesn't support that theory. But it is, in my opinion, it's dangerous to be bearish through here. I think it's also dangerous to be bullish because it is a range, and ranges can break either direction. You don't really have a directional bias when you're in a range like this. But if somebody put a gun to my head, made me take a position long or short, I'd probably be more apt to take a long than a short. And again, I'm not taking either side right now. I'm very neutral. I'm just waiting for things to play out. That's one thing about trading. It's different from investing because investors, they want to get in there. They're worried about, well, what if it goes up without me and all these types of things. As a trader, I don't care. I don't care whether it goes up or down. And I'm really just looking for an edge. And when I have a range like this, I don't have an edge. I have no edge. I'm no more apt to be correct about the direction that this goes than some guy off the street that knows nothing about Bitcoin, right? Because a range is really a coin flip. You don't know whether it's going to break up or down. It's a 50-50 shot, So anybody that's pretending like they have this crystal ball and they know which way Bitcoin's going to go, I mean, they don't. They really don't. And that's one reason that I haven't done very many videos lately, because what are you going to say? Oh, it's 50-50 shot. I mean, okay, but you can't do a video every day just saying it's 50-50. Until this thing breaks out and resumes some type of trend, there's really not a lot to say about Bitcoin, other than here I am, the bear, that I am, telling people to be careful to be overly bearish, because it just, markets don't move in straight lines, and this thing's been ranging a while. So somebody, one side or the other, has been building positions, and when it eventually breaks out, it's probably going to be a pretty strong move. If it's down, it's probably going to be a big, strong move down. And if it's up, it's probably going to be a big counter trend rally back up. So again, I'm some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. Nothing in the video is financial advice. You should always go out and do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor for making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, the stock market, precious metals, Forex, or any other tradable asset. This is James with Crypto Common Sense, reminding you to please trade safe, and I'll talk to you soon.